Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Tonight, Ashwin is going to tell us how to build apps, which are both awesome and we build them faster. Ashwin, you can take it from here.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So it's a great time to build apps, right? Can somebody tell me why? I mean, phone apps, but in fact, Windows phone apps. Can somebody tell me why? A few good reasons.
We need them.
We need them, okay.
First move advantage. First move advantage.
Good. So tell me something about numbers that are very encouraging. 4.4 million Nokia phone sales.
You got good hardware.
Yes, exactly. That's a good piece of hardware after a long time, right? Anything more about number of apps? 75,000 apps on Windows Phone just in last year. 150,000 apps total in the marketplace or Windows Phone store, the way you would call it. You're getting there faster. So basically, if we look back at the trend, we are very close to, I think we missed Android by 2 months in our race to get to 100,000 apps faster. So we beat iOS, actually. And so keep in mind that iOS required folks to learn Objective-C. Android had the advantage because people could just use Java and start building apps, right? For us, it was easier, like C#. 10 years, .NET has been out there. People have been using C#. And what's great news, in Windows Phone 8, you can build using C++ too. So porting that physics engine of yours, you don't have to really port it. Now you can just use that, right? You can build hybrid apps. So what are we going to talk about here today? That was just to give you some numbers and get you excited. Building apps, always fun, right? So a quick little humor from Dilbert. But seriously, I mean, actually, so it's a good time, and there are many more reasons than just the numbers out there to build apps. And building apps are easy, but probably building good apps that people like or love is going to be hard. So what is this talk about? But before I talk about, I want to throw a disclaimer out there. I'm not from the Windows Phone team. So I've been one of their partner teams. I work in DevDiv. I'm in the CLR team. So we helped build the runtime engine for Windows Phone 8, core CLR. I used to own the diagnostics pieces of that, so helped them with some of the tooling for diagnostics and all that stuff, performance and some of that. But this talk is not from the Windows Phone team. So this is from me, a newbie developer, learning how to build apps. And after all the talks, all the stuff I learned from that, what I realized was that everybody has so many talks that talks about performance, talks about design, talks about the OS. But as a developer, what I found was missing is, what are all these tools that help me get to the market faster? What are all these tools that let me find my issues faster? What are these things that are all scattered, lying around? Nobody speaks about those. I have never found a talk or anything that talks about these. I just want to I started building a catalog of these things, and I thought, you know what? I should start sharing this out. So those are some of the things I'm going to talk about. This is not a performance talk. And if you want to ask me questions about performance or specifically fixing a design thing in XAML or something, I'm not the expert. But I can forward your questions or take you to the right set of folks who can answer those. So the talk will be about what are those tools, what are those tricks, what are those stuff that I need to know. And so when I share this slide deck to you, most likely you'll have all the links in that, and you will learn a thing or two from this. So which one of this is you? This is one set of guys we know, like time to market is very critical, right? If you have this awesome idea, I know I can get there faster, and I go and check on Google Play, and I go and check on the Apple Store, and say, wow, it's there, but there is no app on Windows Phone. I want to start building this. So you want to get to there. You want to get to the market faster, right? So yeah, I want to build a quick and dirty app, but after that I want to start improving it. But I want to get there faster. So time to market. This is one of those guys. So if you go to one of the startup weekends, How many of you have gone to a startup weekend or something, hackathon or anything? Okay, there are folks. Cool. So if you go there, it's all about time. 54 hours, 24 hours, you need to build an app. You need to build an impression. You need to, in fact, there are people who have said, oh, you know what? You won first and you won second prize because the other guy's design was better. So even in 24 hours time frame, sometimes the impression the app makes has been better. I have been to at least 2 of those, and one of them we missed. I'm bragging here, but one of them we missed because the judge said, your UI doesn't look that. You awesome idea, your UI doesn't look good. So even in 24 hours, things such as this matter, right? The other set of folks focus on experience. Seriously, all these apps out there doing X suck. I can definitely make something much better than this. And so you want to start, he knows he has an idea that something has already done, and so you want to say, I want to make this app better, I want to make a better one. Oh, there is no push notification, I hate that guy's particular scrolling, this app crashes all the time, I can make something much better than this. So that's the other set of folks I've seen who are like serious and who want to jump right in building apps. So you could be either of those, but whatever talk I'm giving here applies to both these categories. So you think you can build awesome apps, right? What are awesome apps? These are actually words I picked from the top rated apps on Windows Phone Store. Every single word you find here actually has something hidden in them. Everything really means a lot. It tells you just more than just a single word. Flawless. I could consider that this app never crashes. This is awesome. Somebody tells buttery smooth. That means probably it's like smooth. I can have great scrolling experience. The UI responsiveness is great. It doesn't get stuck. I feel like it's so beautiful, brilliant. Brilliant could be an idea that I could have never thought of, right? And somebody built it into a phone app. That's awesome. So every single word, how much time have you really spent before building I want to build a great app? How much time have you spent looking at apps out there in the App Store and seeing, what are customers giving feedback to these guys to? And as just one data point out there I have been finding as I looked at these apps. Most likely, at the most, only 10% of your users, at the most, 10% of your users are going to come and rate your apps, period. 100,000 downloads, you will get probably 10,000 reviews. That's it. So keep in mind, only those folks who really love your apps, or probably they don't care about your apps, and go and come and rate your apps, right?
Or really hate it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Either love your apps or they hate it to come and give you. So this is where you want to get to, right? So this is real data from the App Store. So what are the hurdles? First thing is, like I said, time to market. What's slowing me down from getting there and building those apps faster, right? So I want to build these apps and get it out there faster. Delivering great experience. So what are the tools, right resources so that I can start making sure my app gets that great experience, right? So those are the 2 things we are going to focus on. And so what was my strategy, or what is the thing I want to share with you is we want to divide this into 2 main things. This is what the talk will be about actually. You can take those proactive measures, right, to make sure that before I submit my app for the first time itself, that I have taken care of all the things I can do. So those are my proactive measures. And then the next is my reactive measures. Of course, you are human, you are developers, like you will learn. Things will go wrong. I'll get bad reviews. I'll get crashes. Then I should be ready to take advantage of whatever data it is. I'm being fed from the store or from the developer, from my customers, that I should be immediately able to make improvements on my app. So the first set of thing I want to talk about is proactive measures. What are the things I need to know? Why are apps getting rejected? Do you guys have any idea on why do apps get rejected? Okay, before that, how many of you guys have got your app at least rejected once? Okay, that's fair actually. I got my app rejected. I tried 2 apps, both my apps got rejected, right? I mean, then you learn, you find out. So that's costing you time, right? You wish like, oh shoot, and there's a silly mistake. You say, oh shoot, I should have fixed that. I should have caught that. And so we've been looking at some of that data, and I can't give you exact numbers or anything, but I've been talking to some of the folks on the phone team. I've been talking to some of the customers, actually developers, who actually won some of our employee developer contest, and asked them, like sat with them to find out, hey, why did your apps get rejected? And they came up with a list of things. So that's something for us to share. So if you can make a checklist and keep an eye on those common issues, then you can actually fix them proactively before you even submit it for the first time. Language validation. It's easy for everybody to go and select all the language. Oh, I support all these languages. People say it's so stupid. At least when you are doing that, at least give the description of your app in those languages you are publishing to. Don't just go and just randomly select any single language. Okay, country is a different thing, but language is another thing, right? You can still have your app in English and still submit it all. App closure, this is unhandled exceptions. Now we will walk you through, as a next step in my demo, I'll walk you through some of the tools, but I'm just going to list down some of these common scenarios. How are you making sure that you can catch as many exceptions as you can? So what are the testing tools that you can use so as to catch all the exceptions? So the app closure is a thing. The app closes for some reason. When they try a random set of things, it just closes. Network validation. This is the silliest bug ever. Like the first thing the store team did when I submitted my app is that they put the phone on airplane mode, tested it, boom, crashed. Tested it for every single page of mine, boom, it started crashing. And I missed one page and I submitted it again, boom, it crashed that exact page. So how many of you have done that in the first time? Probably not, right? But there is going to be a tool now to help you do that. What about crappy network? What if the network is like varying from 4G to 3G to 2G? How are you going to test whether your app is going to have a better experience? Or is it well designed to work only for 4G, or is it well designed to work for 3G or 2G? What about in other countries where all countries don't have 4G network, right? So think about those scenarios. So that's the network validation. There is an exact class for that. I forget the name. If somebody remembers, is network available or something. There is a class you can do, and you run that function or your method that does your web request or anything that you want to do, contacting a network, only if a network is valid. I mean, network is available. So if you, as long as you say network dot, I have to go and look at it, but network dot is, I can send you the link to that. Does anybody know?
Is network available?
Is network available? Yes, exactly. So that's the thing you have to check. It's like a bool, right? It's a boolean. You just look for that, and then you write the whole thing in that. That's so easy. You saved somebody from crashing. Otherwise, imagine somebody, your customer using the app somewhere else where the network goes away and the app starts crashing. That alone is enough for you to get you a 1 star. Invalid tile and images is something that the store folks say, oh my God, we see this a lot. Please, there are enough tools to let you take good screenshots. How many folks have discovered in their first attempt how to take the screenshots? I didn't too, and I got rejected for taking probably not the right thing. There are emulator tools that can help you take the right screenshots for your app, and I'll show you that. So icon screenshot. There is a cool icon creator. That doesn't even take you time to go and create all these different icon sizes. The 99 by 99, 70, 75 by 75. Now there is a long one. There is a simple, cool icon creator. It took me 2 hours to get to that. I mean, to actually find out, oh, I should have done it this way instead of using Paint or Blend or Photoshop and everything. That's 2 hours, right? So there is one on Codeplex. Just pick it up, and I just had to do one drag and drop, and boom, it created all the icons for all the different sizes I needed, right? Sorry?
What is it called?
I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you the link. Responsiveness is next one. So you start scrolling, or you click on a button, boom, do not block the UI thread. Try to do everything asynchronously. In fact, by default, you will be doing everything asynchronously using web client or any of those things. It's all asynchronously. But please, and the good thing is with the new tools that you have, there are things that are going to show you whether your responsiveness went to 0 or whether your responsiveness went to 100. I'm going to show you that. So that new set of diagnostics tool are more than enough for you to get to this. So it's up to you that whether you decide to ignore it and still publish it, right? The next one is memory consumption. People have told that, oh, my app has crashed a ton of times for out of memory. But this has happened more during the Mango time frame. But that doesn't mean you can just ignore memory growth and just start putting out there. So there are tools, again, to show you if you have, when you run your app and when you start testing it, if it's showing a steady growth in your memory usage, then what will happen? Let's say if it's a game, what will happen if the app reaches 10th level? Is it going to still continue and grow and finally crash? So you want to look at those patterns. So I'm going to show you the tool again to show to find out those patterns. Location awareness. The emulator is getting better and better. So there is a location awareness in your emulator, so you can fake your real location. So I've heard reports from the store team that people have put location awareness app and it just doesn't work. It just hangs. It doesn't work at all. So this is one of the common cases, right? So there is an emulator tool. Not that. There's an emulator. Emulator has a location awareness that you should take advantage of, and I will show you that. Multiple devices support. So how many resolutions do we have for the new Windows phones? Do you guys know? 3. WVGA, WXGA, and 720p. So all 3 are different. All 20 have different screen resolutions. So if you want to just publish an app out there, and then you say, okay, support all the resolutions, please do test, because your tiles, your icons, your graphics are going to look much different in all these different three things. So in fact, the good news is the tools, the SDK, the emulator supports all three of these, right? And so you can definitely, you'll have to test on all three of these if you want to publish an app, good app, awesome app for all these three. Impact on incoming call. This is real world, right? When you're using an app, your customers can receive an incoming call or can get a reminder pop up. So what happens? What if your game just gets stuck when an incoming call comes, or when there is a reminder that pops up? How will you test for that scenario? Good news, there is support for that in the emulator now. Really, there is a real world simulator support for that. So that's something. Startup time has been one of the issues during the Mango timeframe, but the other good news to talk about what CLR and the Windows Phone did during is that we moved the compilation to the cloud. So the new compile on the cloud happens so that your app is pre-compiled, and so it just runs instead of jitting, on the fly on the device. So that saves you a lot of time. So you have to try really hard to make the startup time bad, right? Unless you can say, oh, the first screen I'm showing, it has to go and fetch all these RSS feeds anywhere out there, and that's the first thing I'll show you. So I'll not show you anything until that RSS feed comes. That's the bad thing to do. So why are you putting that in your initialization or startup path, right? So think about some of these things. So last one is, I have been told, like, there is a back button test. So you are no matter any page you are within your app, there are the store folks, they keep pressing the back button until finally the app exits gracefully. Have you tested that? Simple scenarios, right? So anyway, so the whole list of things that you want. These are like the common things I've heard from customers as well as from the store team. So the full list is out there. By the way, the full list was always there during the Mango timeframe because they were manual tests. Most of us ignored it because, again, for us, time to market mattered. We wanted to get there faster, right? So again, so what are the tips? Use this build, measure, and learn methodology, right? You keep building, you keep measuring, and there are the good tools to help you do that. Debug your apps on emulator as well as device, right? And there is a reason. The code, technically, the code that runs on your device is slightly different from what actually runs on your emulator. Can somebody tell me why?
x86.
Exactly. So your emulator is x86, and the device is ARM. It should be same for all practical purposes, but I'm just saying that you still want to try it out on that. Is
there a list of devices we should test against?
I don't have a list of devices. You test on ARM and x86. You pick any device that you own, probably. I would just test on my Nokia device. Why do you ask specifically?
Devices they test against.
Sorry?
They don't publish a list of devices they test against on the...
Oh, I don't know about that information. So like I said, this is all public information I am aware of. If somebody knows, please feel free to say. The question was about, does the store team publish anything, the devices that they test it on? I don't know about that.
If your app fails certification, in your certification report, they'll say what are the devices this app was tested on and what are the reasons it failed. That information is available if your app fails certification.
Okay, so in the report you get it.
Prior to failure. I want to know what the list is prior to failure.
Yeah.
So I can actually test.
Yeah, the proactive steps. So what Rabbi is asking is, what are the proactive steps to make sure I test it on? Well, there are a few devices out there. You can buy one of each, $100 each probably. Or I don't know the honest answer. So the answer from the audience was, we could when we get a report from the store that my app has crashed and failed, then they will publish what device it was. So that could be an information. But again, you lost a few days by then. Right. So debug your apps on emulator and device. Test your apps on different screen resolutions. Again, that gives you only in the emulator though, because you can change the resolution, and I'll show you that. Perform CPU profiling. Okay, now we are getting a little more serious here with stuff and diagnostics. So CPU profiling, I'm going to walk you through this. Memory profiling. CPU profiling tells you like how much time your CPU is using, how much is this app going to let you drain out your battery life pretty soon? How much, what's the CPU cost of using this app or testing this app? So you want to test those things out, and I'll walk you through those. Memory profiling, of course, like I said, whether your app is trying to consume memory? Is the app doing a lot of garbage collections? Number of GCs this app is like emitting all the time. If you have like so many GCs happening, and you've been loading so many pictures, you've been loading so many temporary string operations, and you're doing crazy stuff, then you need to know, at least from using a simple tool out there. App monitoring is a new thing that Windows Phone team has introduced, the SDK team has introduced in Windows Phone 8. So I'll show you what all things it shows. It shows you stuff such as what's your startup time, what's your battery life. In fact, it estimates and gives you, if you use your app in this pattern for X hours, then it will drain your battery life 100%. So that's good enough information for at least most likely for folks who do game development or graphics development. Then I spoke to you about the real life scenarios, which is the simulator of where you get those incoming calls and text messages and reminders, and you need to actually test whether your app behaves bad when some of these come up. Lastly, you have to also test for the app responsiveness. So let's take a look at some of these tools I've been talking to you about for a while. Okay. So let's pick an app. I mean, this is my tiny little app. Just publish. You can just go and say Oracle. Let's see if it works. Oh, no network connectivity. My app didn't crash. It says limited. Wow. You have wired? But actually, see, my app didn't crash. That is because I must have used this thing. There you go. First time my app got rejected, I didn't have that, and my app crashed. So I didn't fake that. That happened on purpose. I mean, that happened without any knowing it, right? So here I go again. There you go. So I get the earnings release date. I get the dividend date. I get pay date. I can add to my favorite. It's a simple app. Okay, I can click here. I can go and see, okay, what's the thing. So first and foremost feature, the emulator, the new emulator supports multi-touch. Actually, I'm not able to do it from here. So it supports multi-touch. That's something to take. So if you guys have apps which make use of zooming, pinching, multi-touch gestures, so you can use a Windows 8 touch tablet and start testing your app on. Start using the Windows 8's touch feature so as to test the app with multi-touch on the emulator if you don't have a device yet. So the first thing I want to show is debugging. Let me stop this. Debugging on different screen resolutions. So you have 512 MB, you have the VGA, you have XGA, and the 720p. So if I change this, it's gonna. I could probably just try that out just to show you. If I change this, it's going to actually launch separate VM which has more screen resolution. So this is different. The previous one, which is the VGA, and this is the XGA, which is going to launch a separate one which has higher screen resolution. Just to let you know, I'm not going to run that. So essentially, the thing to keep in mind is that when you test on each of these, remember before submitting your app, this will be hard to discover and find out. When you're trying to submit your app, you will be asked to submit screenshots particular for each resolution. And so make sure that you go and take the screenshots for each of these resolutions by running them.
Is there a tool for this as well?
Yes. So here is a screenshot. That is.
If you take one screenshot and
I haven't found a tool. If somebody finds that, please let me know. But you can't, right? It's a picture for one resolution. How are you upgrading?
do it from paper, but besides.
I haven't. So if you have to, let me know. But this is what I did. I just ran it in these different options, and then I can take a screenshot. Boom.
But there is an API to take screenshots, so you could very well, in your code, take automatically some screenshots when you get into a page, and automatically it saves into your onto the phone, and then you grab all the screenshots.
Is that a new API?
A few times for all the different languages. Good. Because it's a raw thing.
Good. Okay. So there is a API for taking screenshots, is what the gentleman said. Okay. Good. That's good news. Thank you. Do you know the API name at all, or we'll search for that on MSDN. Cool. So this is how you take the screenshot, right? I mean, you can go. And the other thing in the emulator you can see is that you can fake the location. You can go and set a location, and then try to feed that location into your emulator for your location aware app. There is accelerometer. This is always there. And then there is network. Oh, this is just network information. Now let's go to one of the interesting ones, which is I need to probably release one more app. Well, that loads. Okay, so let's look at a simple simulator example which I spoke to you about. Is tools. So there is a little discoverability problem. So you go to tools, you find something called simulator dashboard, right? And so this is the one where I can fake my network, right? So I can say enable network simulation, and I'll show you the difference actually. So let me close this guy. Oh, the wrong thing. I closed the VM which was running, and so now it has to tell the debugger that your session is terminated. That's fine. So go back to FITLMB VGA, which is this, and where is the simulator? Simulator. Okay. So I ran the app. I'm going to say enable network simulation. I'm going to keep it as 2G, and I'm going to keep the signal strength as very poor. Okay. And say apply. Let me see how long it takes. Okay, slowly. That's how you test for a bad network condition, right? So you still know what's the worst case scenario even if the network is slow. And if I click on this page, see how long it takes. Still okay, but the first one to bring all this data, because I'm mining it from different data sources, right? So I could stop this. I haven't figured out an easy way, but I could stop this, and I could go and still some tiny little bugs. If I go and say Wi-Fi and say, or say 4G, and say great, good, apply, and it will still run it again. That's fast. There you go. So you're able to simulate those conditions, right? The next one, you can see what happens to the app. I mean, this is a simple app, right? But you get the concept that you can do it for gaming. Game apps, we usually have to make sure that your experience is not bad when you try this. You can get the app locked. You can get a lock screen, what happens to the app, whether the app resumes carefully when you lock the app. You can say reminders. There you go. Your app got reminders. Whether the app gets, whether you lose a level, you lose some, you know, when you are in between a game, do you lose a level or do you lose some settings or something like that?
If you know that your application really needs a decent, safe 3G connection, so you know it's not going to do well on 2G, is there an API you check for network quality or something you put in the store registration?
Honestly, I haven't hit that use case. I'm not sure. If somebody knows, let's see what this one gives. Oh, I have to, there is no edit and continue, so I should go and say dot. This is the only one I have. Network interface. So I haven't found that yet. I don't know, honestly. But this is something I would test to see what's my worst case scenario. So I could maybe optimize to make my web access better in the worst case, right? So that's one. Let me take another app to probably show a better case of app monitoring and app CPU profiling. So I'm taking another app. Let's call it Smasher. I'm just going to run that. So this is an app that gives, I won't really finish this app before I come here, but this is an app that helps you give real-time feedback to, say, even my talk or something, right? So, so this is an app we tried. So I could try to connect to like Facebook login, right? So it's going to connect. And then for now, I'll just say, don't do it. I just want to try out with a different setting. So that's the app, right? I haven't completed it. But the thing I want to show you is how to do performance analysis, or that's the thing I called app monitoring and CPU analysis. But this is some app which will do a lot of data fetching from the cloud, or should load images, like bring RSS feeds, so what are the live events happening around you. So then I pick the same event and I start doing stuff. So if you look at the stuff, this is the option to use. Remember, there are other performance analysis. If you have Visual Studio Pro or Visual Studio Ultimate, you will have start performance analysis, paused. That's not the one you're going to use. You're going to use the Windows Phone application analysis button, right, or Alt F1. That's a specific one for Windows Phone. So you see you have three options. The first one is completely new for Windows Phone 8. It says app analysis, right, and it analyzes different aspects of your app. So let's see what it does, and I can say launch with that and say started. So my app is launching. So I should just start using my app just like I would use it in real life. Honestly, I would start just trying it once with the emulator, then I'll connect my phone and I'll start spending more time with my phone. I can't show you here from the phone, that's why I'm showing you with the emulator. But really start doing it on your phone, because that's where you will get the real aspects of, what's the hardware. With this hardware, what can I expect the app to do? So let's say I log in and I want to smash an event. I find the live events happening around me, and this is all fake data though. And then I'm going to find some event, and so it's trying to fetch some data from the cloud. Da-da-da. Yep, okay. So I can scroll if I want, right? And I can say amazing, awesome, whatever. So there is some response issues, right? I can say, okay, WTF, I don't like this. And so I can keep doing that. Or I can see a live report of what's happening in real time, like what my customers' feedback is. So this is my app. I'm just trying to play with it. I can go back, and it's collecting still data, and I can say, let me end it, right? So it's connecting. It got all the data. It used it looked some of the data, the diagnostic data, and then it came up and gave me a report. It showed me 3 alerts, and see, it took into account my startup time, responsiveness of the app, the total data uploaded, downloaded data, battery charge remaining. This is a cool one. So imagine you are testing a game with this. It's going to tell you that it's estimating with some, I think MSR research team, I think probably came up with an algorithm for that, and they have used that to estimate, like how do you look at battery life consumption. So it tells you if you use it like this, then your battery is going to last for this. This is going to be really useful for game developers. So maximum memory and what's your average memory throughout the usage. So it shows you this, and then it gives you red because the app's responsiveness is poor. This is what I said. That means, remember when I clicked on some of those buttons, it was just like kind of like getting stuck kind of. So when I click here on the alerts, I can go and see these graphs. And it tells me, okay, the app responsiveness is poor from what time to what time in this timeline, right? And if I scroll down, I can see the frame rate, CPU usage, and if I hover over here, it tells me what is consumed by what, user interface thread or by the app or by the system idle, and shows me the network usage. And if you can see here, see this is the time where actually I use the network, right? So it gives you some quick stats, battery usage, and who is using the battery actually. Is the display using it or is the CPU using it, right? And memory used and all this stuff. So it shows me three issues, and it told me my responsiveness was poor between this time and 42 and 44. Let me go and see what that was. 42 and 44 somewhere over here. Oops. What was I doing?
Auto-scroll you to the right position if you double-click.
Does it? I think double-click here will select the whole thing. Like it can select all or something, or double-click. No. Oh, it doesn't take me there. So what was I doing? So this gives you the events, what I was doing. I was doing some taps. So probably I was clicking on a button at that time. And so it tells me that this is the button, blah, 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 target something, that button I was clicking out there in that list box item. So let me go out there, and it's a stupid thing which I had done there because I was trying to fake something. Don't laugh at what I've done here, but I'll just show you. So I was just sleeping here, right? Because I wanted to try and see, okay, if I didn't want to let the customer click 2 or 3 times immediately on the same button. That's a bad thing to do. I have to find some other asynchronous way of solving it. So I comment that, rebuild. Oh, I shouldn't have launched. I should have gone ahead and said analysis, start again. Fast. fast. I'm just clicking. Okay, we go back. I'm pretty sure this time it will not show me any alerts because the responsiveness should be good. There you go. Responsive is it's bad. So remember there in that graph, the previous graph is here. You saw that you can see the responsiveness, right? It's 100% responsive, and the app, whenever I clicked on the button for a second, the app is not responsive. So that's when imagine the same situation when you have a lot of RSS feed or data coming through and you're scrolling right ways and boom, there is the whole thing is stuck because the UI is not rendered yet, kind of. So that's the way this app responsiveness bar is going to help you. So the other option you have there is execution, which is exactly almost the same as the app performance, and the memory one. Memory will make you look at your memory usage of the app. I can quickly show you that as well. Okay, so quickly, just to give you an idea, and here it's going to show you. It's pretty fast, by the way, the emulator now. Okay, so this is showing you the number of image loads, the number of GCs, the number of garbage collections that happened, and the kind of graph your app's memory has grown to. So you can select anywhere out here and say start and analysis. Let's say you had a very bad peak. I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing. You will figure it out on your own. You can say start, and then it'll tell you, okay, there are no warnings. And I could click here, and I can go and say heap summary, right? And I can click here, and I can show me the types, and then you can sort by the types, and you can dig down and say, okay, what are the methods or what are the types that are taking the most of the memory, and then you can try and get to the whole chain of the whole graph of all the objects, right? So you can do all the deep stuff. Now, so that's for so we looked at CPU. CPUs will be. In the interest of time, I'm just trying to skip the CPU one, but you can imagine that will be almost similar to the app responsiveness. So this is for all the managed apps. So for game developers or the native developers, this is another tricky thing to keep in mind. You will want to test similarly for your native apps or games, right? You don't get all these options, unfortunately, for just in Windows Phone 8. You don't get all these options for your native apps games. So I think I have let me close this guy and I can show you a new app. No. Or maybe I can open a new one. Sure, it's easy. So this is a native Direct 3D game. I said the basic out-of-the-box app I just created. If I open the debug options for that game, so if it's a native game, you will get only one option. You're not going to get all the app monitoring, execution profiling, as well as CPU profiling. You just get one option, and you can just do just the basic stuff. I'll tell you why. So let's say you start. This is a basic game. See if it starts. It's a very simple game. I mean, just showing the rendering this, right? And I can stop. It's collecting the data. All the symbols. This is much different from the other one. This is actually just showing you base, because native doesn't have enough support yet for profiling and app monitoring as much as the managed one, but it will show you the key things required for your CPU, which is basically like show the CPU usage, and it show you the hot path, the functions, two things, the hottest path in your app, and then the functions doing the most individual work, which is basically same thing that you get today out of the box on Visual Studio Profiler for even for your desktop and server apps. Okay, so we covered that. We covered simulator. We covered screenshot. Spoke about that this has multiple multi-touch, works for different resolution. You need to try it out. App monitoring, and selecting the right profiling option. And this is the same case for hybrid apps too. So you can write hybrid apps. You have some C# as well as C++. So even for hybrid apps, only this option will work for profiling. So these are the tools that are going to help you find out all these problems earlier, ahead of time, before you submit, to see whether your app is responsive and it's consuming less memory and it's not crashing at least. So let me go back to the slide and see where we are. Okay. So using the right tools and being smart. So how many times do you build an app that is never connected to the cloud? Most of the apps which you build are connected to either cloud or consuming some service. The Windows Phone team and the marketing team has partnered with lot of folks out there in the ecosystem and enabled a lot of plugins, controls, what would you say, add SDKs, backend as a service. Those are this new term called BaaS or BAS, the backend as a service guys and all that. So you need to, so you don't want to start from scratch. I'll send you this link, and this is available in the Windows Phone developer blog. And so I took a picture from them. For all these, or at least for most of these, there is support available. So you don't want to start from scratch trying to build a set of jump list controls or something. Telerik, I think Telerik gives free support for the free controls for a year for all Microsoft employees or something. So you can just go and grab most of these things and start building apps faster. Don't try to create, I want to create an awesome control that's fast and fluid. Rather go and just pick from these, right? So this link, I'm going to, when I send you the slider, you can just pick the links and go find out what are the things that you need. Next one is mobile services. How many of you guys have used Windows Azure mobile services? Good. Did you guys try out the authentication services? Yeah. So if most of the stuff out there requires like authentication services. Like you want to create a good app that says, okay, I want to use my Facebook login or Twitter login or Google login or even Microsoft Live ID, right? Guess what? Super easy. All 4 of these come in Windows Azure mobile services, and that's free.
No policy on using these sort of middleware SDKs in Microsoft production code?
For your Office work apps? I have from Windows mobile services, or are you talking about the third parties?
Talk about the third party.
I don't know yet. So these are just new and coming up. I think if you have the question, we could take it up with the phone marketing team to find out what's the. Can we use the third-party controls directly in Microsoft production code for the phone? Yeah, so we might need approval, what's the process and all this. So we should probably, if that is a question, we should hook up you with the phone marketing folks to find out what's their, or product team with what's their guidance. We need SDA, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the process.
Even for using jQuery, we had to get there.
For example, yeah, probably Telerik is probably used. So they may already have something like a blanket approval. Who knows? I can't speak to that.
I don't think it's
Okay, so a quick note on Azure mobile services. Trust me, I'm not I don't develop a lot, but I just needed to use authentication just for my silly app. It was super easy. So getting authentication services from Windows Azure mobile services, very easy. Push notifications easy. I have not tried that yet, but I've just seen the demo. It's super easy, as well as adding to a database. So, and the Azure mobile services uses Azure websites, which is actually a free offering from the Azure team. So you're not probably going to be paying for that.
Does it have the auth in the Windows Azure mobile services?
So this is using the OAuth. So you don't have to write the code for OAuth from scratch for these 4, right? I mean, I don't have enough time to walk you through that, but maybe I can take it offline and show you that. You're just going to go. So how do you get a Twitter? How do you get a Twitter login? Or you go to the Twitter site and go and get the app key and the secret key, whatever, and then you come to the Windows Azure website for yours and say, hey, I want to set up a mobile site, and you just go and paste those keys, and then you download the SDK from the Azure website, and then it's super easy, like few steps from there, and you can just start calling it directly. So the whole process of writing the OAuth libraries from scratch is just mastered away from you. So that's the use of the Azure mobile services.
Yeah, actually also the mobile services, just so people know, turns your database will allow you to create tables and they're presented as REST-based APIs.
Yes, yep. So it allows you to easily add stuff to your database, right? And gives you the REST interfaces for doing that. Yeah, so they have also added SendGrid, or is like a third-party emailing service support in Azure mobile service, which you can consume from your Windows Phone apps too. So those are some of the cool tools. So if you're doing all these common things, those are 10 things which almost all apps do, there's no need to write from scratch, right? You're going to get all these things for free or from some of these third parties.
Is there something else apart from SendGrid? SendGrid has it's like kind of expensive.
Is it they don't have a free tier?
I think it's like 6,000 mails in a month with 200 a day.
Is it a free?
I'm not sure if that is free for a long time. At least there is a free option 2 months.
Yeah.
But apart from that, like $10
I have no idea about a free tier separate one. actually. All right, so Codeplex. So be friends with Codeplex, right? I mean, the community is also powering Windows Phone a lot. So there are some of those things I spoke about. There is a phone toolkit. I think most of the phone toolkit stuff was something that you had to go and download for Mango, but now I think a lot of these things, for example, long list selector is one of the things which is more preferred for your instead of the old list view. That's something that's already available on the Windows Phone 8 right now, but there are other controls which you can probably go and download from the toolkit. Add rotator. How many of you have seen those add that kind of like springs out so as to grab attention? I think I think it's My Stocks portfolio or the Tech News Viewer. A couple of those apps have those very beautiful ads. So they just like come and show on your screen and blink and all those things. So it grabs more attention. So there are like good ad controls actually that you can go and download. This one is a tile creator kit, which will let you create the Re7 actually let you create like beautiful tiles that looks just like native tiles. That's something that you can go and create for your the smart tiles on your home screen. Power Tools actually gives you option to go and download the tools that lets you inspect your isolated storage. One of the most common exceptions that we have seen, crashes we have seen, is like people probably not knowing what's happening in the isolated storage. And when I update an app, my isolated storage, the previous files that I saved were overwritten and lost. So you can actually test it in your local using this tool and see what happens in your isolated storage for your app. Make sense? So that's the Power Tools has one of this as one of the very cool features. The icon creator is the one which I told you. You could easily go and create icons in just one go. Let me just go and pull this out. I think I have those open. This is the icon creator. So one picture, it gives you all the images, all you want. That's it. Boom. 10 seconds. This is the Power Tools. I can go and navigate my apps, isolated storage, and all the other things. This is some of the things that it lets you do. This is the smart tile creator, really like a native tile. Add rotator control. Everything is there. It's a pretty good support on pretty good healthy contribution on Codeplex for Windows Phone. So don't omit Codeplex. Right. So what's next? So ready to publish. Keep track of all your monetizing options. So go to Pub Center, or you want to make sure whether your app is paid in-app purchase or ad-based. Set up for trial scenarios. One of the things which you have always seen is that when you say, yeah, I want to push it to all countries, keep in mind there was a silly issue. It happened to a couple of my friends. They said the apps were crashing outside US. I don't know why. It's the same thing. It's English. It's pretty much the same thing, but they started crashing. Guess what? Some of them couldn't actually parse the URL for the RSS feeds, because let's say it goes to some other country. It was instead of .com, it was co.in or /co.uk or something. That they were not aware of even that situation.
Was it globalization or localization?
Because this is just the site's URL. The site's URLs were completely different, so they didn't know that these countries they were going to publish to. I mean, there is a definite set of countries they want to publish to, but they just didn't know that the URLs were going to be different for these things. So kind of like keeping in mind that even simply publishing, even if it's English only, and if you're publishing different countries, if you're consuming RSS feeds or something from the web, you want to make sure that, I'm not talking about globalization, localization, but I'm just saying, keep in mind that all these aspects could change, like your simple URL, your RSS feed might not just work, period, and it could lead to a crash. Last thing, have you tested, have you thought of doing a beta testing for your app before you say, oh, my app is awesome and I want to get it out there for everybody? So the new beta testing support, I think for Mango it was probably 10 users at the most. Now it supports up to 10,000 people. So you can almost give it to almost all your friends and test it and be imagine the guy who was saying this app sucks, I want to create a better app than this. He can probably use this particular feature to go and give it to 100 of his friends, all his Facebook friends. And then, by the way, that's a good feature, right? People said, I want a feature to send my app beta tested to all my Facebook friends. We don't have that yet, but that will be a good feature to have.
Beta
Does the beta app need to pass certification?
No. As soon as you publish, it becomes within 24 hours. The link goes to all the people whom so you have to put their live IDs or their emails. Only I think Microsoft emails will work, and you put their in a text box. In that text box, you put all their comma separated version or something, and then it goes to all these friends. They can download it. So they get the secret link. They can download it, test it, and then give you the feedback, right? And I'll tell you, so you don't really have to use the store to get the crash reports or something from them. You could use third-party tools, free tools to go and test, and I'm going to show you that. Anyway, so these are some of the tools. Go ahead.
Can we get the email addresses of the people who left reviews?
No, that's personal information, right? No, you will not get that.
It was possible to send them messages over the Zune clients before.
If they allowed you.
Using their...
I don't think so, yeah. So that's something you will have to figure out. Give a text box and say, if you really want to send me your message, give me your email ID, right? Consuming customers' PII, which is personal information, without their permission is bad. So anyway, we're running short of time. So let's go to so those are some of the proactive measures, right? You could have done all these things in the beginning to save time and to build awesome apps. Use all these tools and plugins and all those things to proactively publish your apps faster. But again, like I said, crashes happen, things will go wrong. You want to make sure that you are keeping track of what's happening and take the right measures to go and make your app better. So reactive measures. What are the common exceptions? Almost everybody knows. I just want to throw it out there so that you guys can test at least for this exception. I'm not going to walk you through what this exception each mean. Simple, right? All the top exceptions are maybe the interesting one is to keep in mind that the isolated storage exception is one of the top ones. That means people are still messing around. That's why you have to go and probably download that power tool to make sure you test it for an update. Test, like you have an existing app running in the marketplace and you want to update the app. What happens if I were updating the app? So will my file get overwritten? Because your customers are saving some data, right? Will the file get overwritten, or will it replace it? Will it crash? All those things. So isolated storage exception happens all the time. We spoke about some of these already. So these are some of the common things you should keep an eye on. So what are your measures? Again, build, measure, learn. Dev Center has a download count, download report, an app crash report. I think I have my app crash report. I can show you. Look for your own feedback and reviews. Keep you are the dev test PM for your app, right? So you keep an eye on what's what the feedback is and what the reviews are, and also keep an eye on the competitor's app. I mean, you want to know what others are talking, what people like about their app, so that you can make your app also does that. Somebody told me there are 1,900 flashlight apps on iOS store. So how does one app shine across all the others? Right? So again, you can go and it's okay to go, and if your friend or somebody has an iPhone, or you have a Android tablet, go check out for a similar app on their store and see what customers are talking about in their reviews. Like, spend time, like do the competitive research if you get serious about this, and start using probably some. If you want real-time feedback for your app, if you want real-time crash report analysis for your app, then you want to use some probably third-party software. And I have found one free one that I'm going to talk to you about. So these are some of these tools out there: BugSense, Hockey App, Buddy.com. These are all. So Buddy.com does a lot of things. It gives you like your photo editing APIs for free. Like build your own Instagram app quickly. So he gives you some photo editing APIs for free. It's like a backend as a service thing. But it also gives you like crash diagnostics and analysis service, real time. BugSense, Hockey App, Telerik also gives you some diagnostic service. So these are some of these things you can add already into your phone app so as to get some analytics data. And I can quickly show you maybe a short demo. So let me go to this app. We call it BugSense, right? How easy is it to add real-time crash data? So I go to bugsense.com. This is a simple one I have been using. They have a free tier, so that's the reason why I went and tried it. So bugsense.com, I went and created an account, right? And it says, hey, that's why you got an account. Go and download this particular assembly. So I go to NuGet packages, and I say BugSense. They didn't have this last year when I checked, but this is pretty cool. They're innovating a lot. So bug sense for Windows Phone, bug sense for Windows Phone 8. So I installed it, right? So what I did, I just selected it and said, boom, installed. For my simple little app out there, I installed it. So what happened as soon as I did that, in my references, it added bug sense WP8, right? So it's there. And only thing I had to do now to catch my exceptions, unhandled exceptions, is I go to app.xaml.cs and don't look at my code. You can copy it. It's nothing that's going to happen. Yeah, so that's the secret code they gave me when I created a login. Say, go to the website, I created this. This is your number. That's your API key. I could say this is my API key, right? And so that's one line of code I had to write. That's it. And I saved it, right? And then I go, and if I run it in debugger, then the debugger will catch my exception. What I'm doing here, I'll just say simple, silly little thing, right? I'm saying divide by 0. I'm throwing a divide by 0 exception, just to give you to prove the point. If I run it in debugger, yeah, the debugger is going to catch it and say, yeah, you're throwing a divide by 0. But it happens in the wild, or for any reason, any crash happens in the wild. So instead of doing that, let's say I think I have already run this. So let me say I run it from here, okay? So I'm going to run this and say crash me. App crashed, okay? Let's go back to the bug sense screen. And so this was, I already tried once before coming here, so that is that one crash. Did not publish it. Something has to go wrong at the demo. Let's see if it goes wrong. Yeah, so it is pretty fast. It's like pretty real time. So let's see, maybe every minute or something it publishes. Anyway, so when I click on that, I'm going to get this detail in real time. Go ahead.
I think you need to open the app again in order to report, because your app just crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it didn't able to upload the data.
Doesn't it catch it?
Yeah, it catches. It just catches and sends it. It just sends it, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, at the time of the app. So what was happening there, as I understood it, at the time of the crash, this bug sense DLL handled your exception. It just sent it, and then it passed on the crash back to the phone. So the
crash or
no, first. So once you can. What has happened there is like they have the bug sense DLL has handled the first crash, and then it has just sent it, and then it's rethrown the exception, so that then the rest of the exception flows through the pipeline, because you don't want to change the way regular crash happens on the phone, right? They just catch it ahead, throw it, and then they send the exception back.
Some of the tools like Flurry does require
Exactly. So they follow some of these principles, right? I mean, so they don't change the entire experience; they throw it, and then. But there are some of the others like Telerik. They can say, "Oops, an exception happened," and it can really show you the custom screen. Sorry, an exception happened. So that comes out of the box. So Telerik does that.
You can't reach the server. Will they queue it? And so next time you run your app,
so some of them do that. So that's I think Telerik and Hockey app does that. And so the next time it opens up saying, sorry, we couldn't reach the server. So these are the buttons and tools and screens that you get out of the box without you writing any code. Make sense? That helps you get your customer have a great experience. And it's like it prints a nice, sorry, last time your app used crashed, do you want to send this? But probably even for my mom, I don't want to show that to her. So this is fine, it crashed, that's it. But without she knowing anything about it, I got the data. So let me just show you what I found from the what I got, assuming it worked. I got a nice little attempt to divide by 0. It gave me the class. It gave me what button click what led to it. I got the stack trace. I got the details such as the app country, what device it was. For example, I have tried it on an HTC versus Nokia, then it tells me what device it was. It gives me all the information I could care about. It was a fake GSM network. It gives me the manufacturer and all the things which I care or not care about, right? So I got this, and I think this is their free tier. You can try out any of those guys out there. I think Flurry, if Flurry starts supporting, maybe you can use Flurry too. Criticism is another one. So the images I showed there on that screen, you could use any of those.
The dashboard has the crash count and also the exceptions as well. Stack trace.
Who has it? Oh yeah. So the phone team. Okay. So yeah. So phone team gives you this crash. So this is the. Did I close it? No. So this is the phone dev center. This is the crashes for my app. from a long time. Okay, so this is why the app was crashing in different countries, and it was a test app. And I figured out after a while, oh, the URL was bad in different countries. So the app crashed like crazy. And so it shows you. So each of my apps are crashing like this, and it shows you by color, and you can hover over it. And these are all new things that they added. And when I click here, it opens an Excel file, a CSV, and it shows you the same thing. But the only point I was trying to say is that you don't get it real time, right? Right? So you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get a stack trace here, and what you do is like copy paste it on TextPad or something, and then go and look at the whole stack trace. So this is your free out of the box offering from the Dev Center. You want to go one more step ahead. You can go and get one of those tools. If you are serious about making money and making sure that the app's crash get fixed immediately, then you can go to a paid version. Guess what? The paid version is like $10 a month. So if you are making a few $100 a month and you want to make more money and you want to say experience is what matters, I want to fix those bugs faster and get the analytics faster, then you can probably pay $10 to get that.
Analytics sort of allowed outside of the data from a privacy perspective, like will we get a validation failure if we're sending these out, or if there's some sort of consent thing I need to put in my manifest?
Very good question. So from a consent wise, I think, so these companies pass it on to the developer, right? So to say, so honestly, that's something that I haven't really, I had the same concern, but I haven't tried to find the answer. What I know for sure is there is something called capabilities, right? So most of us ignore that, right? When you go and install, when you are about to install an app, if you scroll down a little more, you can see what capabilities this app has. So it says network usage. If this app can use network, then it can send pretty much even your credit card number from your app, right? So you are accepting to the terms and conditions by default by installing it. But
whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, so it looks to me like that, but that's a good question. I don't honestly know the answer. These tools are out there. Their terms and use says that it's the developer has to take the responsibility of making sure, yeah, if with this crash, this is a good question. If with this crash, I could say, comma, my email address. Maybe my email address could go, but that's not the right thing to do, right? So developer has to take responsibility for.
Yeah, the Windows Phone team won't fail you for that, but Windows 8 store will.
Will fail you. Okay.
You're doing any analytic tracking and you don't pop up a privacy policy.
Exactly. There you go. So it's actually good practice. Like, why do you want to put yourself in jail? If you are doing analytics, it could be good to actually call it out anyways, to say that, for better analytics do you want to allow, and maybe there is if else logic that you can say if that is allowed, then start collecting crashes like this. It's a good question though. So those are some of the things that you could do. I think, yeah, so we are, last but not least, okay, this is something I want to tell. All developers are not designers. We try to believe that, and so I've been to the startup weekend. Folks will know. Everybody comes to the podium and says, "Hey, I am blah blah blah. I'm looking for a designer." The 10 people who came there said, "I'm looking for a designer." So designers are scarce, and all developers are not designers. So if you are really really serious of building a great app, so then probably do you know somebody who's a designer? Do you need to hire a designer? I know somebody who has said, "I am going to outsource my designing to somebody in some other country," and he said it was very cheap, and I was able to get my app beautifully designed, game actually beautifully designed. He actually came and showed me, like, "Hey, which one do you think is better?" Like, "Of course this one." Yes, that's the one I got designed from a developer. This was mine, and his apps got it better reviews because look beautiful. Like, that beautiful comes with the cost probably. I don't know. So yeah, I can probably exactly. So that depends on your need and your seriousness, right? I mean, so the point is that don't assume that I can design everything on my own and I'm a designer. Some of us maybe, but usually not. So I want to throw out good references if you guys are building apps for the phone. So this was not a perf talk, right? I would not do justice to the performance if I'm just going to repeat some of the talks made by some of these awesome guys out there in Build. So highly recommended, perf what. This is from somebody, Oren, on the Windows Phone team, and this is from Stefan Wick on, the second one is from Stefan Wick from Windows Phone. And so, sorry?
Stefan was here, he was showing before.
Yeah, Stefan was here, yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is good talks on performance, and they talk to you about what controls to use, why one control versus that matters, how to make sure your frame rate and other things are better. And then you can have a list of all the talks to build about phone at Build 2012 here. And then please keep an eye on the developer blog. It's a very good resource. Like, there was a blog actually on the simulator right? Which I showed you earlier. There was a blog on how to use the performance analysis, the CPU and memory profiling. And if you want to learn about how the whole compile on the cloud worked, if you're curious to know what the .NET team did so as to make sure your startup time and performance is faster, the last link is from somebody in my own team who gives a talk about how we make that magic happen on the cloud. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you guys about. Thank you so much for your time.